Hi, everyone. Welcome to Town Hall 217. This Thursday, we come together a bit early to celebrate the 150th birthday of Winston Churchill. Our town hall gives us a chance to look beyond his role as a wartime leader. The art talk will explore the more personal side of his life as we focus on his love for painting. And if you're interested, there are two other art talks on Winston Churchill, number 27 and number 132, and both are available on the SMA Wins YouTube channel. So we all know Winston Churchill, the British statesman that served as the historic prime minister during World War II. But today we'll delve into Winston Churchill, the painter, and the person outside of politics. It's said that he took up painting in 1915 after a disastrous campaign during World War I. His sister-in-law, Lady Gwendoline, encouraged him to paint as a way to express creativity. Churchill was inspired by the great European Impressionists, and we can see here how they influenced his style of blending small brushstrokes of color and painting landscapes en plein air. In 1955, Sir John Rothenstein, representing the trustees of the Tate Museum, approached Winston Churchill about donating one of his paintings as a gift to the nation. Churchill was flattered, but felt that he didn't deserve such an honor as an artist. Eventually, Churchill agreed and sent two candidate paintings to the Tate, On the Rants, seen on the left, being one of them. In 1945, with the war ended and Churchill having suffered a surprising defeat in the general election, he accepted an invitation from Field Marshal Sir Harold Alexander to join him at his Italian villa on the shore of Lake Como. Churchill enjoyed his host's generous hospitality and focused his attention and energy on capturing the region on canvas, as seen here in By Lake Lugano. Churchill most likely painted Riviera Coast scene during a holiday at Chateau de l'Horizon, home of Maxine Elliott, a friend of his mother. Within this painting, we can see the influence of the Impressionists, who utilized unusual viewpoints, this one here being from very far away and at an unusually high vantage point. Winston was enraptured by the French Riviera. The sun, the colors, and abundant subject matter were irresistible to him, and he longed to capture them on canvas. Churchill painted possibly 600 paintings in total during his lifetime, and at least 150 of them were from the south of France. Again, with the unique vantage point, this painting manipulates perspective and depth, a nod to the dramatic shifts of artists including Monet and Cézanne, who challenged traditional perspectives of landscapes. Beginning with an unprimed canvas, Churchill learned to work quickly to map out the composition in thinly brushed outlines. He then laid in passages with broader brush that reflected his learning. He said, quote, "I had hitherto painted the sea flat, with long, smooth strokes of mixed pigment in which the tints varied only by gradations. Now I must try to represent it by innumerable small, separate lozenge-shaped points and patches of color." This piece is a little more rudimentary in form with the larger swatches of color and brushstrokes. Churchill has an interesting history with Sicily. He believed that Mussolini's regime was the Axis's weakest link and pressured the Allies to attack German-occupied Europe, starting with Sicily. The Allies invaded Sicily on July 10, 1943, landing 160,000 men, trucks, cannons, and artillery on the coast. But Churchill visited there after the war, and he never traveled without his easel and paints. This scene he painted is near the De Corday Grotto near Syracuse, Sicily. Churchill painted Oranges and Lemons at La Pausa, the estate of Churchill's literary agent, Emery Reeves, and his wife, Wendy. To avoid painting outside on a chilly January morning, Wendy Reeves arranged the fruit for Churchill to paint. Surrounded by Reeves' superb collection of Impressionist and post-Impressionist works, including a number of paintings by Paul Cézanne, Oranges and Lemons illuminates Churchill's relationship and the influence of Cézanne, who he admired. The painting, like Churchill, has lived a colorful life, exhibited at both the 1959 Royal Academy of Art exhibition and the 1965 New York World's Fair. Churchill favored life outside the hustle and bustle of big cities, as we've seen with his numerous trips to the French and Italian Riviera. Chartwell is a country home that he purchased in 1922, but its origins date back to the 14th century. He spent the majority of his time here up until his death in 1965. Again, here, Churchill uses a very zoomed out perspective to show the vastness of life in the countryside and the stillness and serenity of being in nature. Here's a recent photo of Chartwell, and we can see the very well-traveled SMA CEO, AJ Patel, got to see it in person. The house was purchased by the National Trust and has been restored and preserved as it looked in the 1920s and 30s. It's a Grade 1 listed building for its historical significance rather than its architectural merit, and Chartwell has become among the National Trust's most popular properties to visit. Here's an interior view of one of the living rooms. When Churchill purchased the property, he hired architect Philip Tilden, who worked on it for 2 years before the Churchills moved in. And Chartwell was a haven from acute stress for Churchill. He even stayed there the night before the fall of France in 1940. He said, quote, "I had much to amuse me. I built 2 cottages and walls and made a large swimming pool which could be heated to supplement our fickle sunshine. Thus I dwelt at peace within my habitation." Of course, Churchill spent much of his time at Chartwell painting, and today it's home to one of the largest collections of his works. We can see, even from a distance, the many seascapes that he painted while traveling along the Mediterranean coast. A fun fact is that Churchill was very fond of apples. There were extensive gardens at Chartwell, including a terraced lawn, a rose garden, a fish pond, and an apple orchard, where a new variety of apples was bred, the Churchill apple. Winston Churchill's legacy is one of steadfastness to the British Commonwealth and of leading the country through one of its most difficult periods in modern history. Although painting was just a hobby, Churchill learned new skills which he used in his political and diplomatic life. Churchill's great-grandson, in a 2018 statement, said, "It gave him a sanctuary during adversity, and I believe made him more effective in 1940 as Hitler prepared to invade Britain." Now we'll hear from Dick on postage stamps that highlight the life and legacy of Winston Churchill. On to the studio.